Hi, I was recently a guest on a podcast called Beyond UX Design with Jeremy Miller. I thought I would share a little snippet of that where I talk about a few of the frameworks that I use as a UX researcher to get my team to understand and align around our users. And guess what? One of the topics was that I talked about personas. Wah wah. I'm just going to share a little bit of a snippet, but if you want to go see the whole episode with Jeremy, I'm going to put a couple links in the show notes for you to go watch the whole episode. So enjoy this little teaser to Beyond UX Design. Now, when it comes to personas, you said something earlier that everybody wants them. I don't know that that's true. I think everybody feels like they need to have them.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right? Oh, executives say, I'm fighting this right now. Executives want personas. And I'm like, why? It feels like a UX theater checkbox. Oh, we got to have personas. Just like you said in the boot camp case studies you're seeing. Check. Got the persona there. So, yeah. Lots of people have experience with personas. They're often not built well. And let me ask you, Jeremy, you have a few years of experience.
A bit.
When did your team use a persona around a discussion or a feature direction or design decision? Tell me about a time when your team pulled out personas and said, we're going to reference this as we have discussions about things.
Yeah. So it's funny because our team, we had the same, I think, point of view as you, that personas are probably not helpful. And one of the things that we tried to do, and I'll get to whether or not this was successful or not, but we tried to create just a very low fidelity, very simple living document. We tried to create a very simple website that we could share with our product managers, product partners, stakeholders to really get them to try to use this and really go away from the sort of standard marketing persona that you kind of see with the picture and all this fluffy crap. And we called it the UX playbook. And we were trying to have set it up so that it would be used as a discussion. And the UX team, for our part, I think we did a really great job of trying to get people to talk about it. And I think we did a good job of talking through it in meetings and things like that. The problem was no one else used it. And so, the persona is not really useful for a UX designer who knows their users in and out, right? It's meant for people outside of the UX team to get a better understanding of the people they're building software for. And unfortunately, we were never able to get traction with it at all. So to answer your question, I think we did a good job of it, but that really isn't the mark of success, I don't think. So I don't know what your thoughts are, but
exactly. That is my point. We spend a lot of time and effort, even if it's a quick and dirty persona like you're talking about, or a proto persona, I guess is the proper term. We spend a lot of effort building these, doing the research, and no one uses them. And they look great, and we feel like they're jam-packed full of powerful information that help drive decisions, but no one ever fucking uses them. So we don't get them done. So we don't. What's the point? So what is the point? So sorry about the F-bomb. I don't know how you can beep out or whatever.
No, I actually forgot to mention before. Feel free to curse.
Okay.
I'm happy to put the little E.
So here we go.
No,
okay.
You're good.
So Jeremy, you mentioned something earlier about marketing personas. And for those who may not be familiar, that's what executives are asking for. They want photo, they want age range, they want salary range. And that information, that demographic information, leads to stereotypes. So let's try this out. And be gut honest with me, Jeremy, when I say, what comes to mind when I say an executive at a bank? Describe that person for me. Right off the top of your head. You have them in there. What are they?
It's probably an old white dude with a clean shaven, I imagine. If they're not wearing a suit, they're wearing a quarter zip vest, most likely. And maybe this is just my bias, how I see executives. But they probably drive a Beamer or a Mercedes, most likely, and very, very, very little involvement in the day-to-day, most likely.
Exactly. Did you see how much stereotypical information you included there?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Exactly. That is the problem with marketing personas. You jump to conclusions about people. And hey, maybe you know a bank executive and you think he's an asshole. So you're not very positive about that person because you've attributed certain personality traits or psychographic traits that, like you said, Jeremy, bias you. And so this is why I think including even a photograph, even if it's AI generated or a stock photo, we all know that's not the real person because a persona is not a single person. It's a conglomerate of an archetype, right? And then when you include, their age range from 26 to 30, funny, how can I be 26 to 30? I'm only 1 year, so how can I be all these different things? Like that demographic information is just trash. And that's what executives want in personas. Now, I don't know if you've ever had the circumstance, but I have had the circumstance where I was making, based on research, there's another thing, we'll come back to that. I was making personas, UX personas, and my executives were like, oh, where's all the demographic data? How old is this person? What's their income range? What's their job role? That's another one that could be problematic. And I'm like, you need to know that. That has nothing to do with their pain points and their motivations. And they're like, oh, yes, you have to put that stuff in there. That's what makes a persona.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Well,
what's interesting, though, I feel like maybe you have experience here, but a lot of the executives, they go to MBA, they get a master's business administration, and they end up with a lot of marketing classes and things like that tied to that. And so they're learning about personas in a lot of those classes. And those are, totally different, I think, from the type of work that we're trying to do when we're designing and building software. And what's interesting, and I to be honest, like my experience has mostly been on internal enterprise software teams, and we're not a lot of times building commercial external facing software. And so I haven't had the experience with the marketing persona requests with the demographics and things like that because, the executives that I generally work with know we're building for internal teams. And so I guess that question is probably moot. But I'm curious, do you think that could have something to do with it? Like sort of the people that we're speaking to are sort of speaking to two different people? Because a lot of those executives, they might actually be also talking to marketing teams.
Yes.
And unfortunately, marketing teams and software teams very rarely work together.
Very rarely. And when they do, I've been there, it's a bit of a pissing match in a territorial war. So that's a whole different problem. But yes, Jeremy, I see what you're saying, and I think that's true. Marketing personas is more exposed. It's what people learn about. So that's what their mind goes to. That's what they think a persona is. And when you and that, to be fair, a lot of them are including motivations and goals and pain points. They're starting to include that in their personas, right? They realize, just putting that she drives a pink car and has 2.4 kids, that's not going to help her determine what kind of candy bar she's going to buy. And that's what marketing personas are. They are built for marketing, for consumers, to get people to come in the door for business. Where, to your point, Jeremy, UX personas are about behavior and how they are using our product. Now, I've worked internally too. I have done enterprise personas quite a bit. And what I find interesting is a lot of times they'll do them based on a job role. And there's some validity to that. If you're a call center rep, you're using certain tools, you're accomplishing certain tasks, you've got certain things that you're doing. But your company could have hundreds of call center reps. They're not all going to be the same. So just slapping a job role on somebody isn't an effective way to build a persona around them either.